All right, so I've been like working on this snapshot thing for a while, maybe like a month now. And I did kind of like a cardinal sin, and I kind of tested it all. I mean, I kind of made it all. I didn't really test it. And as I was coding it, I developed like some anxiety with running it. So I just realized that what I really need to do is like go to where it last worked and then take the repo that I currently have, which is all updated, and just like slowly push it in. So I guess I didn't really waste time, but it was more of like a planning period where now I kind of have to just execute. So let me just make sure I'm streaming. View your channel. Right. Okay. All right. So the thing that I wanted to do today was integrate that like section that I created for that snapshot. But more importantly, I think I wanted to start by doing the refactors that are needed. So right now I'm looking at the transaction manager class, and I as I was making that other feature for the snapshots, I realized that I really want to split this class up into two classes. Basically, the first half is what I originally wanted this class to be, and the second half is like the whole app. So essentially, this render frame um, touches a lot of things. So like in my mind, I was thinking like I was gonna design this kind of just like um, a regular event-driven web app where I write a ton of hooks or a ton of event functions that will do all this stuff. But then I realized, I mean, I feel like this always happens whenever you try to do event-driven design, where it's like you end up just like designing a game engine. And it's not even just like you design a game engine, it's just that you design a a 60-second. I mean, as long as you're doing visuals, you'll almost always end up making a 60 millisecond 16 frames a second loop showing all of the frames as it's controlled, or like showing the frames controlled by your code, which, when it comes to the web development, it's actually kind of rare to do that. Usually when it comes to web development, uh, you you generally don't have those types of renderings, but this is a little bit of a technical project, so we have to deal with that. We do have this like game engine style, just like a render loop, and that touches a lot of stuff. And I originally thought that this would just touch a few things, but this processing is so fundamental to the whole system. Like this is where most of the compute goes, that this actually ends up having to touch a lot of things and coordinating not a lot of things, but like, you know, every frame you want to start several things that are not really coupled. They just need to be started every frame. And to do so, you know, you want to contextualize it as an object that does that, not something that is like not that. So what I wanted this class to be was, I guess, not a transaction manager per se, but more of like a transaction log that is like basically the data structure, which is like the actual stuff inside of it, and then like the list of the transactions, inserting all those functions with manipulating that is one class that is separated from this. So yeah, let's see how I'll do that. And I think I mainly want to start by decoupling. decoupling this section. So here I have this dot correct, and it's not very clear from this function really where this logic comes from. But really what this logic is about is that inside of the system, we want to track when we have to insert from a time before the current rendered moment. And essentially all that means is like we'll return some value, which is like the rewind point, whenever we insert, but only if we need to. So for example, in general, as you're getting these transactions, they'll be after what you've rendered. But obviously there's going to be situations where it's before, and part of the designers of our system is that we rewind. And this is a core feature of it, that rewinding, and I think it's highly coupled in this way that I don't really think it needs to be. So I think the first thing I'll have to do is actually get rid of this correct. This field actually isn't really needed, and I'll show you how I'm gonna do it. So first things first, I'm gonna play some music. You're probably not gonna hear this because I have my desktop off, but I kind of like having music when I code. I might play some Oscar Malero. Kind of a basic pick, but he has a really long, he has some pretty good long mixes, and he has this one on YouTube. I guess I'll just show it real quick. But he has this one, and it's like really good. The intro is really interesting too. It's like the speech. But okay. So let's start kind of. And like right now I got like coffee and a bottle of water and I feel like really good. All right. I'm gonna just look for all the places that we have this dot correct. And it's 15 places. So I'll just like go over all the places that it's used and just explain how it's used. So here's just initialization, and then here is setting the status bar. So this is like inside of the app. Well, I guess I should show this app. New incognito, like that, and then Esther Paint. So let me just make this why isn't this dark mode? Interesting. I guess it's not able to get my browser settings and it's defaulting to light, which is chill. Um, I said the status bar, right? So like at this bottom, you'll see that we have a status bar. And I'll show you that as I rewind, the status bar will move back. I mean, a lot of these changes aren't very like interesting. I'll do like a bunch of those and I'm gonna go way forward and you're gonna see the status bar. Okay, wait, I need to click this very quickly so you can see. Okay, so we're not going far in the past, but basically, as you render, you're gonna be further up in your whole list of transactions, and I want to show that on the completion bar. Um, Next place. So that was for sync. That was for the completion bar. Now sync, I explained sync. That was the rewind. Here, I'm just like keeping it in sync with rendered, which is what originally made me think about getting rid of this. Um, and then the only other place that it's used, well, in sync canvas is used, but no, that should really be a parameter. And I'm setting stuff, but that doesn't really matter. Here I'm checking this, but this should be a parameter. Um, or Push transactions, honestly. So here, push transactions is called, and it's to insert transactions from our uninserted list. So every frame, we're gonna have a list of uninserted transactions, so we're gonna have to push those into our transactions list. And in doing so, we track where we have to rewind to, but we do it in this local variable. And in some sense, it doesn't really need to be. It's not like a piece of state that's used elsewhere in the code. All right, I think I'll just go from the back now. Read state. There's actually a bug with this read state function that I need to kill. So essentially, this is the problem. It's not a super big problem, but as you see, as you draw, it doesn't immediately save what you do. So like I've drawn onto this, it's sent to the server. The server has stored it into like RAM or whatever, that stuff. But when I rewind this, you're gonna see that essentially we're gonna flash back to that last point and then rewind to this point. So you're gonna see flash to that point and rewind. And now I'm gonna do a little bit more drawing. So I'm gonna draw this red, right? I'm gonna restart. It's gonna be those red squigglies, and then it's gonna draw that red. So if you give it a second, I guess it's a little tricky for my internet since I'm doing both this and that, and come on, buddy, you got this. See, it's the squiggles, and then it goes. Here's some tricky part, right? When I go like this, right? I'll refresh here. Now, if I undo, this is gone here. But remember, what's on the server has that gray dot. The next person who logs in will have to render that undo. I just haven't run into the code. What happens if there's an undo in that section that like needs to be processed? So when I hit refresh here, that that gray line is there, despite there being an undo transaction, which would have had to make it rewind. Um, so that's something I may have to solve now, or as I refactor, who knows? But that's just another problem I'll have to look into. So yeah, that's this. Next place. Here's for handling. This is for the insertion. So we have push transaction, and this is how we handle it if there's an undo or redo. Um, a little bit complicated. It's mainly just a lot of duplicate logic. Um, so yeah, it doesn't seem like that hard. I think I can, I mean, just like cover all this real quick. So I'm not going to be using this anymore. This can just be rendered. Here, I'm going to skip this for now. And then, okay. So in sync canvas, I secretly want to take a variable called correct. I want to set this like that. I don't need to set correct anymore. Correct isn't the value that we're setting on like release as we're like exiting. Um, where are we? Where's the next one? Okay. Now in push transactions, at this moment actually, we need to create a variable. Let correct equals this dot rendered. Coolio. And then now, um, this and this. Right, I made that a variable. All right. And at the end of this, I'm gonna return correct for now, but I'm actually gonna refactor it one level further. And I don't know. Sometimes I don't like all right, so there's the common there's a lot of times where like you'll have something like you'll have two functions called next to each other, so you'll have like I don't know if you can see this in a good spot. Yeah, it's the top right of the bot right one. So like you'll have like call B and then and I guess like val and then you have call C val. And it's like, I read somewhere where it's like if you can refactor a section of the code into another function. So I'm like writing this method and I'll refactor out another function. And in naming that function, it isn't just stating exactly what it's doing. Then you should actually keep it separate, right? Um, Sometimes it's right, but like you know, sometimes you end up splitting a function which is actually just called together, and I don't know. This is just one of those situations, I think. So, correct, correct. Now I need to handle this. So I'm gonna pass in correct. I need to pass in correct. Now, this is gonna be easy. Make that correct. Like that. And then return correct. Right, that's all the returns. Okay, so this should always return. Um, I might refactor this. So this calls a function that I've made, set if first instance. But honestly, I'm just gonna make this a whole function for adding a generic one. So there's gonna be handle, undo, redo, and then handle this one. Um, Correct. Okay, that returns. Where else am I? I'm just gonna send this here. So this is a little bit the region where that bug is. So I'm like kind of trying to think about what could have caused it. Um, or I guess like not what could have caused it, but how I can fix it and how I didn't catch that when I was designing it. And it kind of makes me feel like I didn't really think it through in designing it, which is okay. I am smarter now. Um, Sync canvas, that feels chill. So the last place I had was up here, and this is what's gonna happen. Okay, so I'm gonna have uh 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 uh. uh where are you? Here. Now push transaction isn't gonna do that. It's just gonna sync the canvas. Actually, no. Sync canvas was one of those like the whole app things I'm trying to keep separate from this. So, hmm. So I guess that is how I'll do it. Const correct equals. So actually, let me add. I'm just gonna make this kind of ugly. Um, correct. Da, 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 da. Nice and Candace if that's happening. And I think correct is done. And if I'm feeling dirty, I could just like inline this. But I need it here. All right. Now let's see if the app still works. Okay, so now the real test is if I undo, redo. Cool. All right, so let's do like this, undo it, and then draw like that. Okay, it works. As long as you don't get face that bug, it works. So now we've gotten rid of correct. So now the index that we've rendered to, let's see, now let's look at where rendered is touched. It's touched in a lot of places. Start from the bottom. Okay, so anything below that doesn't use it. So I need it for to push the transactions. Take snapshot uses this dot rendered. But this, so like how many places do I actually do this? Because every place that I do this, actually I don't need to. All right. So here I'm gonna add current transaction. No, fuck it. Wait, does that feel bad to do? Nah, fuck it. Um, okay, actually, let's just see where transactions used. Cause I feel like, so if we're done, yeah, setting it. Last one plus plus, yeah. So that's where the last one thing comes from. This that transaction. Uh, yeah, and then the rest are this negative one thing, but actually that's the last place that I use it. Um, for that reason, fuck it. Current transaction. Uh, current transaction. I see. So I need copy. So I'm already looking up that current transaction. This dot current transaction. Okay. Okay. I need to. I see. I understand now. You go like that. I need to add this. Will this automatically add the sweet current transaction? I'm gonna go crazy. Watch this. Is this like really bad to do and like super unreadable? For um this, so I'll for this and that do this, do this. How fucked is this code? Not bad, honestly. Was this shorter than the while loop? Wait, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. One, two, three, four, five, six. It's exactly the same. How do I golf the formatter? So if I can, well, honestly, I kind of like this one better. Okay. Well, fuck it. So is there any problem? Well, I'm just gonna trust the heart of the cards. What did I change? Oh yeah, the transaction part. But not a super big deal. So that's pretty simple. Alright, let's see how the stream looks. The naked eye. Okay, the video, is the video look bad? Like quality wise? Let's go live. So let's turn off this. Do I have 1080p? This is in 1080p. Fine. It's okay. So, what did we need to do? We're still separating this out. But I guess first we need to figure out what we want to separate out. There's uninserted. Last undo, redo operation. Snapshots, snapshot transactions. Snapshot graveyard. I think rendered seems like part of this. Current transaction seems like part of it. Current task is on that under here. Initializing, yeah. See, so like this half is this half is that, but it's still fairly entangled. So, okay. So let's make a new file. Let's call this transaction log.js. Transaction. Okay. And let's just copy the transaction manager into it. So I don't want this stuff. Sync canvas isn't my problem. Push task. Take snap. Wait, what? Oh, but that uses snapshot transactions. Yeah. Is it gonna give me I wanted the opposite of that. So now you don't need virtual canvas. It's just like a raw class. Read state isn't my problem. Send socket isn't my problem. Push client. It's my problem, but I need to change these checks. This should just do that. This feels good. Alright, so I split my editor down, and here I'm gonna go to transaction manager. Alright, this is a bit tricky. Because I'm currently gonna lose all of this. So that breaks a lot of stuff actually. But let's just organize. So where's transaction is undone, not used anywhere here, but I mean that makes sense for this to be in this class. Yeah, I want to expand that, but I want to be able to push this in before I do that. Handle undo redo. Let's rename this low key. This should be called initial transaction. Anywhere it's first transaction, I also want to replace. The last part kind of feels a little redundant. Don't need this. Okay, here. What am I looking at? Yeah, let's see. Okay, wait. Actually, let's import this first. New transaction log. That's that. Completion. Why aren't you? Because I haven't saved it. I just want to make sure that I'm getting. What? Okay. Okay, good, good. Okay. Well, maybe I'll just. I mean, this feels bad. Maybe it feels bad. I don't know. Actually, technically, this is completion of one. Right? That's what I'm doing. The completion is that. That's the completion. That's how much has been completed. So this is always showing you like the worst case every frame, which is I think that's what you really want to see. In general, it's mostly up, so you want to see the contrast of that. I feel that will make this feel nicer. You don't want to. Okay, whatever. Wait, why don't is this 80? Okay. Okay, that's fine. So I have this like philosophy. Well, not even a philosophy. It's just kind of how I format my code, or like it's the style around. Like despite having a formatter, there's many ways that you can compose functions. So like you can have a function inside of a function like this, or you can go like const const completion equals this like that. And actually, that's a way of like condensing the lines. So like the way I've come to work on it is like I want my code to be as like um homogeneously dense with the rest of the code, and like in some sense expanding stuff like that to make the lines shorter, because I have it set to like 80 lines, and my screen I've literally set my screen so like even despite you seeing like a full 1920 by 1080 screen on your end, the screen that I'm using is actually quite larger. It's like this 20, it's like this 21 by 9 or whatever ratio. It's like a wide screen, but I have it vertical, so it's kind of tall. And horizontal, I get like 80 pixels, or not 80 pixels, 80 characters. So it's like just the right amount. And like for example here, this one doesn't want to format, right? Because it's yeah, um, it's like long enough for the screen. Okay, anyways, going back to what I was doing, I set that so now I just want to add flags until Nah, this is goofy as hell. Maybe I'll keep completion. But so what I really just want is in push transaction if this dot uninserted transactions dot length. So early return. So now here you don't even need this. Only if we're not initializing do we push transactions. Instead, let's call this push. Call this push. Uninserted. Like that. Go back up. So push uninserted. Okay. So here I want to make it so that so this function knows for sure whether or not you need to rewind. This is actually the function that tells you that this class is what tells you if you need to rewind. So in some sense, you need to return both if you need to rewind and the point to rewind to. But the problem is it's like, okay, what if the point that you need to rewind to is 0? Right, because that can be a situation. So like okay, this is a little tricky. At the end here, ugh, I hate this. I friggin' hate this. No, 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 no. This is okay. No, you're right. I hate this, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. Is that what I'm checking this as? Yeah. If you need a sync, if only there was a way to like one line spread this into here. Nah, there's no need. So need to sync, and you need to sync. Okay, so I'm calling that completion, and I don't want to have to change it because I want to use complete or completed. So I'm actually just gonna do finished. It's also finished. I don't know what to do about that. Okay. This dot transaction log finished. So then if re-render, cause of undo, or transaction log is finished, fill, Always render. So this whole thingy, I eventually want to turn all these into four-letter words, though at least the ones that make sense to. Next. I'm gonna solve this next transaction, because I feel like I might be confused later, which happens a lot. Next transaction is supposed to do this. I don't know, maybe this current transaction thing is gonna be confusing. Let's see. Let's see how far I get before it's like bugged. I'm gonna trust it. So the next transaction is gonna be this. Actually, I don't know if I like that. I mean, the thing is, I don't like having invisible shit in general. So it's like, I would prefer just to have a variable here than to have that be like put deep in there. Cause this is shorter code, but fuck it. I'm just gonna keep on going. Fuck it. Let's see. I just need to see how it looks at the end. Um, 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 uh, I haven't finished this. Transaction log dot next. I honestly don't know where let it rip came from. Okay, so I do want to do that ultimately. This makes the code a lot better. If there isn't a transaction, break. If this dot transaction is undone, return null. Honestly, no, I think I don't want to set that to null. I want to see what happens if I don't. I just want to return null. So then down here, if I look at uh, 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 wait, why was that saying that I can do that? That's suspicious. Means I really gotta read. I don't want to think about that too hard. I'll just keep that ugly for now. Okay. So, as of so far, this can be cleaner. This dot current task. This while loop. Okay. Sync canvas takes that from this value, push uninserted, returns that. The correct is right here. I don't need to worry about it. Stop the current task, that makes sense. That's ridiculous. I need to change that because it's like transaction log, transaction index, transaction. This should really be index of period. Yeah. Yeah, like that. This code is fucked. Come here. I didn't copy. Yes! Look at this transaction is in this like So many times. Don't I take a snapshot in this? Oh, I do it manually. I forgot. Damn, that's really how they're about to do it? Is wild. Alright. You're not gonna do it the same way? Come on now. Come on now. Current transaction. Boom. Okay, no, actually, that's where there's a difference between unset and uncertain. Take snapshots, build server message. Right? Unasserted transactions. Here, I'm gonna urinate real quick, and I'm gonna fix. I think I can fix this bug right now. I think I'm thinking through what I forgot. I feel like I was just tired by the end of implementing that like feature. But fuck me, am I right? Hi, Zero. Oh, zero. It's all rainy today. I know, it was all rainy today. Ugh. My cat's name's Zero. Okay, I'm kind of back. Okay, so when you push the server, it needs to have some sort of state ready. So, okay, where does transfer? This is like, I'm gonna show you a whole mess of stuff. So where does transfer state reader come from? I guess this is actually an object, and I have here, let me just save this. So I have this transfer state reader gets the transactions. Yeah, I mean, what we need to do basically is catch this last so we need to catch this last transaction. So before we do push on inserted, we need to set the this dot rendered so we know where we need to replay from. Okay. Think really hard about this. So here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get the last transaction in this list. See, sync canvas isn't taking the transaction.length. Because that's actually to the end. Yeah, that's tricky. Last snapshot. Yeah, we literally just need a set. So I'm getting that index. But that's just what the rendered is. I'm gonna have to set the render too. Alright, so I set the rendered push server is actually this dot transaction log dot push server, right? And push inserted is this dot transaction log. Push inserted. Push uninserted returns this and that. How do I go back? Push uninserted. I don't think I care about that. I don't know if my brain is just fucked. Okay, it's confusing me. Okay, so that's that part. This is this part. And then that's this part. Okay, part push. Yeah, I wish this wasn't so freaking long. Last transaction. So how many lines to go? It's about shy 200. How much is this? What? Oh, scared me for a second. 139. It's good to see. This is a fairly complex. Yeah, fuck it, why not? Let's just see what happens when I try it. Um, what was the bug? It was like you do this, you have another person, and like you draw some, you draw something, they refresh, you undo it, they refresh again. No! No, I wish that worked. Okay, wait. Why didn't that work? Oh, I said print. Yuck. Oh. I'm not using my freaking localhost. Alright, let's see how much shit's broken. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, that's good. Undefined is not iterable. Ooh. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna start going like this. And are these both close all editors? Actually, I'm gonna just make this full screen. So let's go to transaction manager. But I want to look at here, and it was saying that I have an issue 173. Push uninserted. All right. Correct. 173. What? Undefined is not iterable. Oh, that's my fault, I guess. So in transaction manager, I have this. Click a link here, and then if it's nothing, then you're gonna want to return. You're done. Yeah, one sec. Sometimes like cool. Okay, I thought I broke at a different spot. Oh, yeah. So there's that. So that's in socket. I sometimes do this to get type hints because I don't want to do the whole like, how would I JS doc this so that I can see that this is virtual canvas or that this is transaction manager in the types? Because this I don't get any information. I have to like shadow it to get the typing. But I'm honestly chill with that. This is exactly the reason why I want to like spread it like this. I'm gonna spread it after I get this right. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That sounds just right. Okay, so now I also need to go to transfer state. I'm sure that there's something that I need to fix here. I'm thinking specifically with the actual sending function. Okay, so it's only a few places, and it's actually just this transaction. So let me just go. Uh, uh, is this used anywhere? Closer. Where'd you fail? I'm so fucking dumb. So this whole thing you're seeing right here from up here, I'm gonna move my mouse just straight down. This is how long my screen is. It's really nice. I take a step back and I just look at it. It's like, wow, I can like really see this function. You know, like this function, I can really see it right here. And my font's huge. It's like a 17 font, I think. I think so. Yeah, I'm a 17 font. I think I also have a plus. I do plus one once. I do plus control plus once. It's a little bit bigger. It makes it so this thing across is 80. Hi, Zero. Are you a little wet? You're a little wet. It's been raining kind of today, and my cat's been outside a little bit. So there's a problem here. Nothing really needs to happen there. It's like, yeah, draw. Not good. Hello? Actually, I did want to have this up, so I want to go. I think something's frozen. So what froze? What froze? What froze? Okay. I feel like it's this while in here. I think I'm there. Okay, I need to open up before. Okay, so it's not initializing. Yeah, nah, it's just so fried. The Damn. Oh, what? The fuck? Okay, so what's next? Okay. So if transaction, get the next transaction. This data sent over. I'm catching it in push client. Am I catching it here? Fuck. It's so crazy that print literally prints. So I'm catching it here. Turn null. Damn. I feel like I was fooled earlier because I was looking at the wrong thing when I was testing. But just a fool. Yeah, so once you try drawing, there's a problem. Let me see if let's see if in transaction manager we catch it in here. So transaction log won't be finished. Transaction, if not transaction break, console log transaction. And I'm gonna have it say something like alrighty. So render frame catches it. So maybe it's rendering that's the problem. Let's see. Ah. So render pencil. Honestly, I just want to figure out where it's gets stuck. Current. Okay. Okay. Oh, wait, I want to go to transaction log. So sometimes the transaction is null, and I'm catching that, right? So sometimes the current transaction at this moment is technically the transaction before it. And since there wasn't a transaction before it, holy shit, this is about to be so fucked. Look how fucked that is. It's getting render frame is catching it, printing it out. So if you catch it, you turn task, pop, run the next bit of task. If there is a next task, then this that current task dot pop. So current task length 0, 0. This that ms last snapshot is greater than 8, and or this fact that there's a transaction taking a snapshot. Something serious is happening. Oh, it made me scared. Fuck. Tick, 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 tick. Or so it could be trying to take a snapshot. Sure, let's just test that. Hi, zero. Tick 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 tick. Ah, and then it dies. Stops ticking. So, mm, mm, mm. So if there's not initializing, push on inserted, we push that in on inserted one. Sync canvas. Damn, honestly, if this doesn't go nowhere, I might take a break and just restart. I feel like I need to just start from that correct part, changing that, and then just like basically like a hard refactor plus a rename refactor after. Um, should be pretty easy also. Um, so what do you want, Zero? Where are you? Got your ass. I have a cat. Okay, so what's wrong? Render frame. Wait, so I'm taking. I did not. Uh, oh, and I need to set finished here. Yeah. So I think it has to do with this change I made. But I'm feeling kind of tired, so I might take a break. I've been streaming for about 2 hours. So thank you. I'm gonna stop the stream and stop recording.